Hello and welcome to a DFS preview for the 2023 Zurich Classic. My name is Eric, and here at SweetSpotDFS, it's all about trying to hit the optimal lineup every single week. And despite this being a team event, I'm still trying to hit the optimal lineup for the week. It's just going to require a little different strategy. So in this preview video, what I would typically go over is the bucket system. I'm not going to do that in this preview video. I'll save that for the strategy video that I'm going to go live with tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll really just cover the anchor buckets. Very difficult to do the bucket system when it's a team event. And again, I'll explain more about that tomorrow in that live video. This video will just take care of the tournament and the golf course information. We'll go over the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. We'll probably spend a little bit of time there, more time than usual, to try to figure out more of like a salary strategy on how to build our lineups and just see what has worked over the last few years that this has been a team event and that DraftKings has been doing salaries for. We'll also review the RBC Heritage, just to give you guys a review to show you how well the sweet spot process did. Usually what I like to say is that leads into our bucket system, and it should give you more confidence and more comfortability in using the bucket system for this coming week. But again, not going to provide that in the preview video, so we're just going to do a review just to go over a review. It's always good to have, so we will be doing that at the end of the video. So it should be a little shorter than usual. Before we get into any of this, I want to remind you of some giveaways that I'm doing. Every week, I give away $5 for a weekly giveaway. That weekly giveaway also goes towards the monthly giveaway you see on the screen. So if you want entries into any of the giveaways, you got to be subscribed and you got to comment on any of my videos. You get one free entry per video you comment on. So what I like to do with these preview videos is cut them up into segments, the tournament course information, the pass optimals, the reviews, usually the bucket system. So there's 4 videos I cut up just from this preview where you can get additional free entries. You just got to comment on those videos. So it's super simple, super easy for you guys to follow along. It also helps me with the YouTube algorithm, so it's a win-win for all of us. You guys get participation entries, basically, to win $5, and at the end of the month, maybe $50. So in order for the $50 to be given away, we did that during Masters Week, by the way. We got to hit the sub goal all the way over there to the left. You see it's at 550. That's the goal. We're at 515. So I need 35 new subscribers before we hit that goal. And if we don't hit that goal, I'm going to give away a t-shirt that has the SweetSpotDFS logo on it. You can see I'm wearing a sweatshirt that has it. Obviously, it's flipped. Just makes it easier for streaming purposes. It will come to you right way around. I promise you that. But you'll get a t-shirt if you are the winner of the monthly giveaway, which again requires you to participate in these weekly giveaways. So again, I like to reward those that participate on the channel. It's super simple. Comment down below, be subscribed, and you get a free entry that way. Let's go ahead and run our weekly giveaway. Why waste time? I had 37 unique entries for all the videos that I posted during the RBC Heritage, as well as the review of the Masters. So thank you all for participating, those that are on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and hit Y, and we're going to have our first winner. Shot Like Harden. Hey, congratulations, Shot Like Harden. You won it by commenting on the RBC Heritage bucket system video. Been a while, I think, right? I don't remember the last time you won. I think Barry's been getting all the glory, Barry and Joanne. But hey, congratulations, man. I think I know where to reach you at. So I'll send you $5. Can't think of it off the top of my head, but I'll figure it out. Now, that's one giveaway. There's a rebate that I kind of like to provide. If you use the promo code SweetSpot when you sign up on PrizePicks, and at least put the minimum deposit in PrizePicks, which is $20, I'm going to give you $20 back. Plus, PrizePicks will match your deposit. So your 20 will turn into 40, and you're going to get 20 back from me. So it's good. You're going to be able to play it for free. That's kind of my little cherry on top, because every other content creator has a match promo code. So if you use the promo code, PrizePicks will match it up to $100. You get that from me as well, except for I'm going to give you $20 in return. So use that promo code SweetSpot. You can find a link in the description below. Click that link, it'll get you to the homepage. As soon as you hit the sign up button, boom, the Sweet Spot promo code will already be populated. So you don't even have to type it. It's going to do it for you. So if you haven't signed up yet and you're in a state that allows it, I highly encourage you to use the Sweet Spot promo code, because it's probably the best deal like that you're going to find out there. It's not even a deal, really. Everyone has match promo codes. You're just getting $20 for me. So again, you can find that in the description. And as always, let me go ahead and pull up the cheat sheet. I have a cheat sheet available for you guys to follow along with me when I go throughout these videos. Also, you can use it for your own research, your own data usages. Click the link in the description. It'll send you this page. You can use the filters that are on here. So I have a DraftKings filter for the bucket, or for the Dream Sheet tab down here. For the bucket system, I have a bucket system filter that you can use. You can use the filters just by clicking the link. But if you want to be able to modify this, what you're going to have to do is hit the file menu and make a copy. That way it's yours. And again, you get to do whatever you want. You get to copy the information that's on the screen or that's in the cheat sheet. Entirely up to you. Again, you just go to file, make a copy. Again, link in the description below for this. And as always, I create an optimizer. This week will be a little different. The one that I have on the screen is for the RBC Heritage. I'm going to show you in the review different ways we could have taken down a GPP this week. So that's what you see on the screen. But I will have one created for the Zurich Classic. It's going to be a little different than usual because we have to incorporate the team play. Remember, it's 2-man teams. So you can't duplicate the teammates. We'll get more into that later as well. So I have to create some kind of code for that, or some kind of workaround, because that's the optimizer currently doesn't do it. I'll figure it out. But if you are interested in this, you have to follow along with all the other giveaway things that I do. Just be subscribed to the channel, comment down below, email me at sweetspotdfs@gmail.com. And there you go. Email's on the screen right there. And let me know you're interested in the optimizer and I'll send it your way. Again, I have to figure out how to do it, but once I do, I will send it your way. So those are available to you. Those are all the giveaways, prize picks, the weekly and monthly subscriber giveaways, the cheat sheet, as well as the optimizer. So all of these are available to you for free. Just gotta participate on the channel. That's all. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into the first segment of this preview video, which is the course information, the course and tournament information. So again, this is a team event, if most of you didn't know. They're 2-man teams. And on the cheat sheet, you're going to be able to see that I have a column that's called team and a number that goes with them. So you can see who are paired up together that way. Or you can go to DraftKings and see who are paired up there. Now, the format of this tournament is, I believe, first day. They kind of change it. It goes from one to another every single year. But you're going to have an alternate shot and you're going to have a best ball. Those are the two formats that each golfer is going to play before the cut. And then after the cut, they're going to do the same thing. And it's going to just be in the same order. So if they start Thursday, I'm pretty sure they start Thursday with best ball and then Friday with alternate shot, but it could change. Maybe it's alternate shot Thursday, best ball Friday. And remember what best ball is. Both golfers play their own golf ball throughout the hole. Whoever has the lowest score is what the team takes. So if Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele are playing, well, they are playing together, but they tee off on hole 1. Patrick makes a bogey, so he gets a 5 on hole 1. Actually, I forget what the first hole is. Par 4, yeah. So let's say he gets a 5 on hole 1, and Xander gets a 4. The team takes a 4. And likewise, if someone were to get a birdie and someone gets a par, you take the birdie. That's how best ball is. It isn't scramble. People always say best ball and scramble are the same thing. They're not. So it will be best ball, and then alternate shot. The way that they do alternate shot is each golfer in the team, of course, there are only 2 golfers, they will pick a hole that they tee off on. Or they'll take odds or evens, basically. So using Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele as our example, one of them is going to get odd number holes they're going to tee off on, and the other guy's going to get even number holes that they're going to tee off on. and they're going to continue that all the way through. On each hole, though, they have to alternate their shots. So if Xander decides he's going to take the odd number holes, he's going to tee off on hole 1, and then Patrick Cantlay is going to follow, and they're going to continue to do that until the ball is in the hole. Let's say Xander was the one that teed off, or let's say, yeah, Xander's the one that teed off on hole 1, but Patrick Cantlay was the last person to put the ball in the hole. That doesn't really make sense, but he's the golfer that put the ball in the hole. So if you were to think about it, Xander tees off, Patrick Cantlay hits it on the green, Xander putts it but misses, and Cantlay taps it in. You don't alternate to Xander teeing off again, because you also alternate the tee shots. So Cantlay would then tee off on hole 2. Technically, he'd be hitting 2 shots in a row, but it doesn't work that way when it comes to alternate shot. You alternate tee boxes, and then you just alternate your shots through. Just think of them as like, I guess I can't think of the words that I would want to use, but you keep alternating per hole until the ball's in the hole, but then you also have your designated holes you're teeing off on. So once a hole is done, it doesn't matter who put the ball in last. You go to the next person that's supposed to tee off. So I hope that didn't really, I hope it wasn't very confusing for you, but that is how the format works. I explained that, and I'm kind of a critic when it comes to these people explaining things on these DFS videos, because what does it matter to you? Like, what does it matter that they're doing alternate shots and best ball and all that stuff? It's kind of like almost like a brag in a way, like, oh, I know this information. I'll tell you this right now. I only say that to you to inform you, but it really doesn't matter when it comes to picking your players, because no one's going to have data as to how well someone does an alternate shot. No one's going to have data as to how well someone does with best ball. And if there is data, or if there is data, it's going to be so touchy, basically. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's going to be very sparse. You're not going to have a lot of data on it, and it's kind of just negligible. So it doesn't really matter. I just want to inform you that that's what's happening this week. But then I also am a critic myself, that I'm like, what difference does it make? It doesn't really make any difference. Just remember, it's a team event. That's the most important thing. It's a team event. Let's move on. So that's the tournament information. One last piece to add to that is strength of field's 326. It's not terrible, but we have 80 teams. I currently have 79 that came through on DraftKings. I don't know if they're missing 2 golfers or if 2 golfers withdrew and they're just not filling it in. If there are the 2 groups, they end up showing up in DraftKings after this video posts, I will put them on the cheat sheet and we'll talk about them. But I imagine they're going to be in the 6K range. We have very similar numbers in the 6K range as we did actually in every salary range that we did last year. So I imagine that it's going to be the same. That is your tournament information. I don't even know if we really have to talk about the golf course. I would say this, though. If there was a little bit of an advantage, it looks like golfers who hit a draw have a bit of an advantage here. And it's kind of really interesting because if we look at kind of the last few winners of this tournament, well, like Patrick Cantlay and Xander, they both hit draws. That's their preferred shot shape. They can shape it both directions, but they prefer draws. Leishman fades the ball. Cam Smith was hitting a draw. Rahm fades the ball. Palmer fades the ball, but used to hit a draw. Horschel hits a draw. Scott Piercy hits a fade. So I guess I could go through all the top 10s and just show you like, hey, this golfer hits a draw, hits a fade. But what I noticed looking at a lot of the golfers inside the top 10, hitting a draw, there are more golfers that hit a draw in these top 10s than there are fades. Now, that's not an end-all be-all. Don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to convince you to play golfers that hit draws or fades. I think if you wanted to make a tiebreaker, I probably would prefer a golfer who hits a draw over a fade. But I'm really not consciously making that decision. I'll tell you right now, I already like Xander and Patrick Cantlay this week. I think that goes without saying. I think most people are going to pick Cantlay and Xander as their golfers they're anchoring their lineups around. It just, there's more to talk about with those two. I'll save that for later, but the fact that they hit a draw doesn't really matter all that much. But if I was choosing between Patrick and Xander versus Homa and Morikawa, or not even them, maybe it's Sungjae and Keith Mitchell, I'm going to choose, like if they're tied, I'm going to use the fact that Cantlay and Schauffele hit draws as a tiebreaker. It's going to be one of my tiebreakers. So that's kind of why I include that in this whole information piece. Just giving you a heads up as to what I notice to be kind of the preferred shot shape at some of these holes. It isn't a necessary shot shape, so it isn't, you know, they need to have that shot shape. I think for scoring possibilities, it is the best shot shape to use. But, you know, look at Jon Rahm winning the Masters. Everyone will tell you want to hit a draw at the Masters. He predominantly hits a fade. Although, you got to see his ball control. He did hit draws when he needed to. So I think that also applies here. If you're a shot maker, this is a good golf course for you. And I actually provide all that information in the cheat sheet. You can see that here in column P. For most of the golfers, I have their shot shapes. I kind of been a little lazy. I haven't filled in the rest of these guys. If there is a golfer you're kind of interested in as to what shot shape they hit, like Taylor Montgomery, for instance, I know hits a fade. So if you are interested in that information, like for some of these other golfers, I'll provide it, because I'm pretty sure I know most of these guys. I just have to get in here and make the updates, or at least in my input sheet that I use. So that really covers the tournament and golf course information. Let's get into the next piece, which is kind of one of my more favorite ones, is the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. So we go back to 2021 to really find the first salaries for this team event, because obviously 2020 we didn't have salaries for COVID. The COVID year, they canceled the tournament, I should say. In 2019, they didn't have salaries, as well as they also didn't have them in 2018. So I can't really go back any. It's bad. In my opinion, it's kind of bad. We only got 2 years of salaries to talk about pass optimal and GPP winning lineup. So I think it's still worthwhile. Just to give you guys a little heads up on how to build some of these lineups. And let's start here in 2021. Your optimal lineup left $100 on the table. Your GPP winning lineup left $0 on the table. Optimal scored 711. Your GPP winning lineup scored 685.5. So I think it goes without saying that the scores are going to be really high. I mean, like in 2021, your winning score or your winning team scored 141 points per player. 164 last year in the 2022 Zurich Classic. So it's going to be a high scoring affair. If you're in leagues, make sure that you're this is a moment where you could really score high points and catch up with the rest of your league mates. I'm thinking about that with mine. But here in 2021, your winners had a salary of $11,100. They were the top price guys. I'm pretty sure. They were not. I apologize. They were the fourth highest price guys. That's crazy. Okay, my bad. 11,100 is pretty expensive, but just showing you can build a lineup using 11,100, because then you would also pick, remember these guys are together, you can't pair them up together. So you couldn't do a Cam Smith and Mark Leishman lineup. You got to choose one of them. So just think of this as one entity. So that one entity was 11,100, followed up by 9,400, 7,100, 7,400, and then down here in 11th place, 6,800 and 8,100. So just to, I think most of you guys already see, it kind of follows the same process that I preach every single week. 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. So if you're new to the channel, I say start your lineups, start building your lineups with a 10K golfer, a 9K golfer, an 8K golfer, 2 7s, and a 6. 25% of GPP winning lineups from the years 2020 to 2021 had that makeup. I have a video on this if you go and look at the Does Ownership Matter? Or if you go visit the Fantasy Golf Pod and we talk about strategies on how to build lineups. I have data for this. 25% of lineups that win GPPs follow that 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. And 11% of lineups use that strategy in hitting the optimal lineup. So that's pretty high. And then the next two salary constructions or salary, I can't think of the word that I'm looking for, combinations, salary combinations. The second one on the list would be 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 7, and then it's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6. So no matter what, you're starting with a 10, 9, 8, 7. So it's probably the best way to start. And obviously we see this in 2021. When we go to 2022, your optimal left $300 on the table and your GPP winning lineup only left $100 on the table. We have a $10,400 Patrick Cantlay and Xander combo. Then we drop down to a 7K, an 8K, another 7K, a 9K, and another 7K. So just to kind of repeat that, that was a 10K golfer, a 9K golfer. Remember, these are entities. You got to remember these golfers are playing together. I guess I could have done a better way to show you that they're paired up together. We could use a different sheet, but just use my word. They're paired together. So it goes 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 7. Like I said, that is your second most common optimal lineup build, your second most common GPP winning lineup build. 10, 9, 8, 7 is probably the method you want to start with. Add another 7 and maybe a 6, or add 2 7s, or maybe just add 2 6s. I think there's a case to make for 2 6s. I really like the 6K range this week. Lots of sneaky plays that you could definitely do. But yeah, that's your past optimal lineups basically. I didn't really cover the GPP winning lineups, but you can see in 2022 it was a 10K, 7K, 8K, 9K, 7K. Well, actually, let's do that again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 7. 7. There you go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 7. And that last group finished in 21st place. So you got a little wiggle room here. Looks like for both of these tournaments, because in 2021, it was 11, 9, 7, 7, 8, 6. There you go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. I know I said 11, but it's anything that's over 10K is what I call the 10K range. So 10K in Cam Smith, 9K in Keegan, scroll down to an 8K in Wyndham Clark, scroll back up to the 2 7s we need in Wierenski and Snedeker, and then Kyle Stanley's that 6K golfer. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. So it's kind of interesting. In 2021, both the optimal and the GPP winning lineup followed those salary structures, but had different lineups. Obviously, both those lineups would have won you money because the optimal scored more than GPP winning lineup. And they still follow the same structure. And then in 2022, they both were 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 7. Geez, almost at 6. 7, 7, 7 lineups. Both the optimal and the GPP winning lineup. And your GPP winning lineup then scored what? Oh, I didn't even total it up. You can do that pretty simple, pretty quick. 805. And your optimal scored, I gotta calculate that one. My apologies. $838. So there's about a 30-point difference. So that covers your pass optimal in GPP winning lineups. Actually, let's dive into this a little bit more. When we're looking at 2023, actually, here, how about this? I want to show you something when it comes to salaries. I'm glad I have it up. So this is the bucket system. I I know it's probably an eyesore to most of you, but this is the engine that drives the bucket system. As I look at top 5 frequencies, top 10 frequencies, top 20 frequencies, cuts made, and the salary totals. This is what I want you to keep an eye on. 2021 was a little bit different. DraftKings probably didn't really know how to structure their lineups or their salaries as they wanted. You had 18 10K golfers, which is 9 teams that were 10K and above, 18 9K golfers, 28K golfers, 22 7K golfers, 29. That probably isn't right. There must have been, oh yeah, 2021 there was a withdraw. So this should actually be 30 high 6K golfers and then 52 low 6K. So it's really, that was really trying to make you build stars and scrubs, and the 1098 776 method was your optimal and GPP winning lineup for this year. Look at 2022 and 2023. Basically the same salaries. Remember how I said there was one group missing? I imagine it's going to be in the low 6K. So you add those 2 golfers, which is one team, and we have identical numbers from last year to this year. These are counts. So there are 8 10K golfers and above. That's 4 teams. There are 12 9K golfers and above. Again, that's 6 teams. Obviously, do the math, divide by 2. The same as we saw last year. So I imagine you still want to start with a 10, probably still go with a 9, an 8, 2 7s, and then make your decision up if you want to go with another 7 or a 6. Obviously, you know, any salary structure, any salary combination can do the trick this week. But I just think that that 10K range, the 10K range is way too solid. I mean, if it's not Cantlay and Schauffele, it's hard not to go with either Morikawa Homa, Sung Jae, Keith Mitchell, or if you're feeling a little frisky, going with Justin Suh and Sahith Theegala. So I think most contrarians are going to go with the Suh Theegala lineup. I really couldn't care less. I think I'm going to still stick with Xander and Cantlay. And then the 9K range is pretty solid. A lot of people probably are going to sleep on Horschel and Burns because of how bad Horschel's been playing. And that's fine. Again, we're going to use the buckets tomorrow to show you, you know, if you can feel comfortable playing someone like Billy Horschel. Remember, they finished second here last year. Going to a comfortable place can help. Can help golfers do well, get out of slumps. So I think that's a pretty decent play. I don't mind them, especially when I think a lot of people are going to go to the Kims, Siwoo and Tom Kim. But also there are other decent 9K golfers. Actually, I don't know. I think I would much rather just stick with Burns and Horschel than like Clark and Hosler. Like I could never. No thank you on Bo Hosler. No thank you. Buckley and Spawn, that's a pretty decent group. I don't mind that. Kitayama and Montgomery, it's like they identified, hey, we bombed the ball off the tee. Let's get together and make a team out of it. I don't know if this is going to be good for them. Maybe it will be because they're playing from similar distances. Could be. I guess I don't really care. And not a huge fan of the Lipsky Rye lineup, although they did finish here 4th. That's going to be a good bucket that we're going to talk about tomorrow. So yeah, that's pretty decent. I'm not going to go through the rest of these guys, but I think there's still solid choices to do the 1098 776. I mean, I think there's probably like really 2 groups that I would select in the 9K range. Probably just, I wouldn't mind 2 groups in the 10K range. And then the 8K range, you know, you got like Denny McCarthy, paired up with Joel Damon. I don't mind that. English and Hoagie, I don't mind that. Moore and Neesmith, Hardy Riley, I like. Hadwin and Taylor, I like. Zaire and Brennan Todd, don't mind that. Doc Redman and Sam Ryder finished 3rd here last year. So that's a good team. And I actually don't mind that. I don't mind the team whatsoever. Really, I think this is going to be, just from my memory, Matt Fitzpatrick was talking about his brother Alex. and said Alex has the potential to be better than Matt, if I remember correctly. Alex, I believe, is on the DP World Tour. You're not going to see any data from me because I don't keep track of that. I just keep track of the PGA Tour data. I think this is a sneaky group. I know Fitzpatrick just won. I think that probably adds more comfort. And I do think I think he adores his brother and he wants his brother to play well. This is kind of similar to the Brooks Chase Koepka thing, but I think I remember Matt just giving high praise to his brother Alex last year. I can't remember where it was, but I'm really liking that group. I also don't mind like Lee Hodges and Robbie Shelton. I think they could be a pretty formidable team. And I also really like Ben Martin and Chesson Hadley. Both are Bermuda specialists. You're not going to see that here on the screen, but they both like that grass surface, which actually, let's see. It is overseed. Okay. Greens are POA, just like we had last week, like we have with most of our overseed. It's going to be very, very similar, but it looks like Bermuda is still in the approaches, still in the tees, still in the fairways, and also still in the rough. Okay, so I imagine then the overseed's burning off. I'd imagine where Bermuda's going to be sprouting through. Now, depends on how the PGA Tour does that or the golf, I don't know. Possible, but I still probably choose Bermuda guys this week than others. And I think that's just going to cover the 8K range. There's a lot of good 7K golfers to choose from. And like I said, I like the 6K golfers. I'll cover more of this tomorrow in the strategy video. I'm not going to go player by player through all the salary ranges, but I just wanted to show you that you still have some good options in the 10, the 9, and the 8K range to start that way, going 10, 9, 8, and then figuring out the rest after. So let's move on to, I believe it's a review of the RBC Heritage. Yeah, that's all. That last segment to cover is going to be this one, and then we'll save it all for the strategy video tomorrow. So let's go ahead and hit that transition. So reviewing the RBC Heritage, the first thing I want you guys to look at is the column here, this year's totals. So this is the bucket system that I have on the screen, if you're unfamiliar with it. The column that has success means, was that bucket successful this year? And of course, this covers my bucket system, which if you're unfamiliar with, I do have a link in the description of this video that'll explain all about the bucket system. If you want to go check it out, I highly encourage you guys to do so. But every single week I go over the bucket system, a preview of it, and then I like to review how well it did. In order for this bucket, for any of these buckets to be a success, it first will compare how many golfers were inside the top 10 versus the projection that I had for that week. Now, remember, always round down when it comes to the minimum. So you can see this first bucket here, 1.27, we round down to 1. The max projection, you can see 2.12, we round up to 2. Now, if there's ever a moment where there's a 1 point difference between them or they share the same point total, we always want a 2-point gap. So let's say this was 1.98 and this was 1.01. 1.98 would round up to 2, but because I want a 2-point gap, we always move down the minimum whenever we can, unless we can't go any further. So because this would be 1.98, this would go to 0. Now, if this was like 0.68 and this was 0.44, or this one's a perfect example right here. If it was 0.3 and 0.5, this rounds up to 1, but because this will still be 0, the minimum, we're actually going to bump up the maximum to 2. So I hope that's not confusing. Again, we always want a 2-point buffer. And if this already goes down to 0 and this can only go up to 1 when we round up, we need that 2-point buffer, so this will go up to 2. So the projection would read 0 to 2. Now, there is an issue when it comes to this where there are sometimes buckets where, you know, say this last year 3, I'll have, you know, 2 golfers in the top 10, but this was still read a no. Obviously, you don't see that here, so I guess it's not really worth mentioning, but it's a very simple formula that's in the success bucket. I guess I didn't need to go through that just to show you that most of these buckets were successful. So you can see 2 no's, and the 2 no's have nothing to do with what I was just talking about with the 0 to 0 and the 2-point gap. Recent form 3s, I was projecting somewhere between 2 to 4. We only had 1 across the board. Oh, actually, no. I was just this sweet spot optimal is a safeguard. Like, I make sure that it follows the bucket projections. Here, let me show you what I mean. So yeah, it says 2 to 4, but this one, this column over here says 2.96. If you follow along with me, like throughout the preview videos of the bucket system, this is my conservative max projection. I usually use this number to figure out what my minimum is. So remember, there's a 2-point buffer. 2.96 rounds up to 3, which means my minimum automatically becomes 1. And that's what I actually substitute over here in the minimum projection. So really, this would read 1 to 4. Now, I remember saying this in the preview video, so if you want to validate it, you know, go ahead, check out the preview video. This bucket would actually be successful. So instead of 34 to 36 buckets, it was 35 out of 36 buckets correct. So we got that one. Unfortunately, we didn't get this one, regardless of whatever hoops I try to go through. I was projecting 0 to 2. 4 were inside the top 10. 3 were in the optimal lineup. So it failed. That bucket failed. But I still was able to create a sweet spot optimal, which followed my projections. And I always post that next to the GPP winning lineup just to see which one was better. If the sweet spot optimal beats the GPP winning lineup, then we can say all 36 buckets were successful because I follow the buckets to a T every single time I build lineups. I follow my process 100%. So let's go ahead and take a look as to whether or not the sweet spot process was correct. So in 2023, obviously, this was last week, your optimal lineup used up all $50,000. So too did your GPP winning lineup. Your optimal, I'll go over that one first, was Matt Fitzpatrick, Jordan Spieth, Patrick Cantlay, so 2 10K golfers, by the way, Hayden Buckley, Emiliano Grillo, and Cameron Davis. So those 6 golfers made up your optimal lineup. Again, it used up all 50,000. 2 10K golfers, an 8K golfer, 2 7s, and a 6. So that's a 10 10 8 7 7 6. Pretty amazing. Pretty remarkable. Now, the GPP winning lineup, by the way, used 2 10K golfers. That's crazy. Instead of using Hayden Buckley, they used the 5 that are highlighted on the screen. They used Adam Schenk, who was on baby watch. His wife was due like over the weekend. He still got to finish the tournament, so I'm sure he's probably tending to the birth of their child sometime soon. That was your GPP winning lineup, and the optimal scored 657.5. The GPP winning lineup scored 620. So there's a 30-point difference. And remember, we're talking about the sweet spot optimal. This follows the entire bucket projections. You would go with Patrick Cantlay at 10K, go to 9K Xander, 8K Fitzpatrick, 7K Emiliano Grillo. Unfortunately, we can't do another 7K, but we do an 8K and a 6K golfer. This equals 49,900. And as long as it scores over 620 points, it was all bucket successful, and it does. It scores 635.5. So following the sweet spot process, you know, just with the bucket system, you could take down a GPP this last week. So you could have taken down the $5 drive the green GPP. So in my opinion, bucket system was successful. There's one missing piece, and that is your marquee tee times. So remember, I look at the top 10 groups that tee off on Thursday, Friday. And I have a rule that says you want to select 2 to 4 groups. And out of those 2 to 4 groups, you want to select one golfer each. You don't want to select more than one golfer because it's very rare that 2 golfers from the same group are either in the optimal lineup or in the GPP winning lineup. So I've highlighted all 9 groups. I say I look at the top 10, but I look at the top 9 groups. We want to find somewhere between 2 to 4 golfers who actually hit the optimal lineup and aren't paired together. Well, guess what? 100% success rate here as well. Patrick Cantlay in your optimal lineup. He was paired up with Morikawa and Corey Connors. Jordan Spieth was in your optimal lineup. He was paired with Jon Rahm and Adam Scott, and then Matt Fitzpatrick was in your optimal lineup, and he was paired up with Ricky Fowler and Max Homa. But oh, by the way, there was another golfer down here in these anchor buckets called Hayden Buckley. 4 golfers, ladies and gentlemen, 4 in your optimal lineup in the marquee tee times, not playing together. There's a reason I go through this every single week. I see it more often than not. So it was there in front of us. We could have done that. And honestly, there were a lot of really close calls with some of these other golfers. Look at Scotty Scheffler. Finished 11th place. Russell Henley finished 19th place. Sam Burns finished 15th place. Xander finished 4th. By the way, Xander in the Sweet Spot Optimal with Cantlay, with Fitzpatrick, and with Buckley. So again, 4 golfers there that followed the Sweet Spot Optimal. You also had 3 golfers in the GPP winning lineup that weren't playing together in the marquee tee times. So it's like, sometimes this doesn't hit. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to pat myself on the back like, you know, I'm some savant and I've cracked the code, but this is a piece. This is a piece to cracking the code. And I mean, it's like a 97 or it's a 90% success rate. 10% of the time, we either have less than 2 golfers from the marquee tee times in the optimal lineup, or we have more than 4, or we have 2 golfers in the same group. That makes up that 10% failure rate. But 90% of the time, it follows the exact rules that I just told you. Pick 2 to 4 groups, 1 golfer each. Do not pair golfers up together. And you're going to find the optimal lineup much easier that way. That's the whole purpose of this, is to find the optimal lineup. I know there's going to be people like, well, I can still win money putting golfers together. Yes, you can. Target the optimal. That's the whole brand here. We're trying to hit the optimal. So I don't think it's the right way to do it. If you're going to pair golfers up together, I want to hit the optimal lineup, and there's really one clear way of doing it. It's just playing the numbers, calibrating the numbers to hit the optimal. That's another good slogan, right? So that is your review. There's nothing else to talk about in this preview video. Actually, I shouldn't even say that because it doesn't make it a one-off. How about this? That's the end of the review video. Now I'll talk about the rest of the video. Go ahead and pull this up. Okay. Just some reminders. Just want to throw the giveaway reminders up. If you want a chance to win $50 at the end of this month, be subscribed to the channel, comment down below. That'll also get you in the weekly giveaways. Like I said earlier on in the video, I'm going to cut this preview video into 3 smaller videos: the course and tournament information, the past optimal and GPP winning lineups, as well as the review video. So there'll be 3 additional videos coming out with this one. That's 4 chances for you to win. You just comment on any of those, or on each of those videos one time. You get 1 free entry per video. Be subscribed to the channel, and you've just increased your chances. Not only maybe win $50, but $5 next week during the preview video for the next tournament. I forget what's coming up next, but that's how you get into the weekly and the monthly giveaway. Also, if you're not on Prize Picks, I have a link in the description. If you click that link, it'll send you to the homepage of Prize Picks. Select the sign up button. it'll populate the promo code SweetSpot in there for you. You just sign up, put a minimum deposit in your account, and PrizePicks will match your deposit up to $100, first of all. So depending on how much money you want to put in there, it's up to you. You're going to get a match up to $100. Plus, you're going to get $20 from me. So I'm actually going to give you an opportunity to play it for free. If you only put 20 bucks in your account, you're going to get 20 back from me. That makes it free for you. And you get to enjoy $40 in your account while playing PrizePicks. I think it's a good win-win for both of us. Again, there's a link in the description. Highly encourage you guys to sign up using the promo code SweetSpot. And of course, I had the optimizer, or I'll have the optimizer ready for you tomorrow. There was a cheat sheet that you could have followed along with throughout this video. You can find a link to that in the description. That's all that I have for you guys. So thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.